Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you all back again. We'd been having some problems with the camera looking very blurry on the replay. I don't know why, because on the live stream it's quite good, quite clear, but on the replay it'd been getting like pixelated. And so we're trying some new settings tonight to try and fix that issue. Hopefully it does. It is good to see you. Day 37 today. Day 37, or are we on day 38? I am starting to forget our days. Day 37. Maybe it is day 38. Ping got the day wrong. Let me double check. So yeah, even now I am getting lost in the days. No, it must be day 38. Sorry about that. I will fix the thumbnail. Ping is getting lost. Let me update this just very quickly. Good to see you all. How are you? My cats, of course, are being jerks like always when I turn on the live show. Let me load this up, and then if it will load. Okay. It's not going to load. That's okay. I'll fix it later. Good to see you all. Day 38. What is today? What did we do today? It was the continuation of the judge's charge to the jury. But what we found out today was gives us more of a timeline. A timeline. So that is, what did he say? Well, he said it looks like Monday is the day that his charge to the jury will continue till. Then they will do the ballot for the jurors. So the other ones, the two alternates who are extras right now, they will be balloted off, and then we'll be left with 12. They will get sequestered. Then the deliberations will begin. So we will get to that deliberation stage, but it's looking like sometime Monday afternoon that process will start. It doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime before that. So we're expecting the judge's charge to continue tomorrow. Tomorrow is only a half day at court, and then apparently for half a day on Monday as well for the final part of that judge's charge to the jury. My cat always plays up. Marv, hold on, guys. There we go. Sorry. My orange cat likes to howl and meow as soon as I do something that's not playing with him. He thinks it's I'm being mean to him because I'm not being his friend. By the way, as you can see, the sketch, now we can officially do this. The sketch by Anita Lester, and it's for us. It was drawn for us here at Nights with Ping. Officially now, you can see the copyright on the bottom. So she drew it for us, for this media outlet, for Nights with Ping. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so that actually took a while. That took a while to get all the legalities sorted out, and payments and things like that. So we finally got that done. Now we can say that it was done for us. So pretty cool. Like when you see in the other media and they're like drawn for Channel 7 or whatever. This was done for Nights with Ping. Your only look at Erin Patterson during the trial, or this is actually during when she was called to give evidence. So this is the only view you will get unless you were at the trial and were sitting in the gallery. So there you go. There you go. By the way, thank you to the people who sent in a couple of donations here and there to help cover the cost of that. I very much appreciate it. It took a little while to get that done, but yes, thank you. Jay says, Do they vote each other out, this ballot thing? No, I don't believe so. I believe it's a random sort of numbers thing. So, there'll be X amount of so there's 14 jurors. They probably each will have a number, and then they draw like drawing it out of a hat, but I think it's done slightly differently. And it'll be like juror number 7, you will not be participating. Your service has ended. Thank you for your service during these 10 weeks at trial. And once they get down to 12, that'll be it. So they could also just draw 12 names, and they're the 12 people who will go forward to make the verdict or deliberate for a verdict. And the two who don't get their names drawn, they will be the two who will be told that their service has completed, and that that the court thanks them and thanks them for their service, and they will go. The judge decides. I didn't hear that. I heard it was going to be balloted. So I didn't hear that the judge was going to make the decision, but I don't know. We haven't been told anything about this particular trial. All I'm telling you is in general what I've seen. All we've been told is that process will happen on Monday. So for all you people playing at home, it'll be on Monday. So we'll see what happens then. So what do we have between now and Monday? Well, we got more of the judges charged to the jury. Now, if I can bring this up, I will go about read a little bit about here. Okay. So in his charge to the jury, and you guys got to remember we're 24 hours behind at the moment. So we're sort of doing yesterday's one today. Tomorrow will probably be something similar, unless something changes between now and then, which it might. But for the last couple of days, we've been a little delayed, and we've been doing the yesterday's one today. Uh, I don't know, Jay. I'm not sure about that. If I find out, I will let you know. But at this point, I don't have any information about that. All right. So, in his charge to the jury, he's talking about Shaman Fox Henry. So, Shaman Fox Henry is a digital forensic analyst, and he gave expert evidence to the trial. And the judge, Justice Christopher Beale, says here, in referring to his evidence, that he will concentrate on the evidence he gave about data extracted from first the Cooler Master computer, and second the Samsung tablet, and third a mobile phone with the IMEI ending in 2 redacted, which is also referred to in this case as phone B. He says, so all these devices were seized from the accused premises. He says he notes that Mr. Fox Henry also gave evidence about the extraction from another device that was seized, a Samsung mobile phone ending with the IMEI 9 redacted, and that was evidence about certain extractions of messages between Erin and her Facebook friends in December of 2022. That phone is referred to in an exhibit, and he says that the jury will remember a flowchart that was shown also in an exhibit. The second, he says here that there was a correction to that flowchart as well at one point. He says he also gave evidence about the extraction from Gail Patterson's mobile phone of certain messages between Erin and Gail Patterson from April to July 23. And he said that Sharman Fox Henry did not offer any expert opinions about these recovered messages on those devices. And he says here that Sharman Fox Henry and his qualifications, he is currently a senior digital forensic officer at the cybercrime squad of VicPol, which is Victoria Police. Between October 2020 and July 2023, he was a digital forensic officer with the Victorian Police Forensic Services, and that he'd been with the cybercrime squad since July of 2023 until the present. Mr. Fox Henry has a bachelor degree in audio engineering and sound design, and he undertakes regular training in computer forensics and has a number of certifications in that field, including certifications as a forensic explorer/examiner. And he said, the judge says that this is since December 23, and he has a Celebrite physical analyst, and that is since certification, that is since March 24, and a global information assurance certification. He The judge says Sharman Fox Henry told you that Celebrite is an extraction tool used for mobile devices, primarily mobile phones, and that the Global Information Assurance Certification certifies that he has passed an exam in relation to the SANS requirement. And SANS is an institute in the USA applying training in certification and training for forensic officers. All right. And Justice Christopher Beale says, in cross-examination, he told you that he first received the devices relating to this case for examination in mid-August of 2023. At that time, he did not hold the qualifications that he now holds. The only training in data collection was from experience in the audio-visual unit, and regarding examination of the devices related to this case, he followed the instructions from his peers. He had not had any training in magnet axiom at the time of conducting the extractions, and that is the extractions from the Cooler Master. And he said he followed steps someone else told him in terms of extracting material. And then in re-examination, he told you that at the time of extraction of the data from the Cooler Master, whilst he had no training with magnet axiom, he had used magnet axiom, but he had no formal training with it, but he had used it before. He had training in relation to Forensic Explorer from his peers, although not the provider of the software. He told you that a large majority of the governing principles behind the applications or tools that they have used are the same or similar. And then he says here, uh, he told you in his examination in chief that he extracted and processed the data from the Cooler Master. The data was extracted from the Cooler Master's 3 storage devices, that is 2 SSD or solid state drives, and 1 is just a hard drive. The 2 solid state drives and 1 hard drive, he created 2 portable cases, one a clean portable case, the other a portable case which contained data extracted from a keyword search. The keywords that were used were death cap mushroom, death cap mushrooms, mushrooms, and poison. Using magnet axiom, he obtained a report in 2024 in relation to the extracted data, and it says, under cross-examination, Sharman Fox Henry told the jury that he used a write blocker when performing the extraction on the Cooler Master, and that is to prevent changes to the data that is on the hard drives. He told you that no data is changed by being powered on. He agreed he did not have any training in magnet axiom at the time of conducting the extractions and was following the steps someone else told him in terms of extracting the material. He had cybercrime computer notes, which is a pro forma to fill in. He agreed he did not fill in the model and serial number. He connected the drive via a write blocker to a standalone computer and commenced imaging. He did not check the BIOS data, which is a software that allows the operating system to talk to the hardware, as well as start the booting process. He did not make a note of the BIOS type, but he pointed out that the proforma suggests you make a note of the BIOS make and type if it is required. And he says, and if the hard drive was physically wired to the motherboard, which was not the case here, he would have entered the BIOS details, but he indicated it was not necessary. All right. He says when Justice Beale continues and says, when he finished the write blocking and imaging of the drive, he processed the image with Forensic Explorer and then accessed it with Magnet Axiom. He noted the identifying features of the particular drives. He provided a record of the procedure he followed so that someone could later verify his results. He selected all artifacts for Magnet Axiom, and he did that for all the drives, so extracted all. He did not interrogate settings on Magnet Axiom other than selecting all. He did not examine the contents of the devices at all, nor did he examine the contents of the extraction report. He confirmed that the artifacts had been processed that were included in the report, and he documented the version of Windows on the Cooler Master from Magnet Axiom. Here, I'll go down a bit here. Here. He took you through the records and explained that each record has a heading, which is a heading assigned by Magnet Axiom. He agreed that from time to time the developers became aware of errors with Magnet Axiom. They will publish updates of Magnet Axiom to fix bugs in the code. He told you he does not understand how Magnet Axiom works because it is a proprietary software. He agreed that in an exhibit where the records refer to interactions with the iNaturalist site on the 28th of May 2022, those interactions last about 3 minutes. He agreed that in the exhibit, which are records for that visit to iNaturalist on the 28th of May 2022, and he says record 1 is at 7:20 and 42 seconds, and record 2, which appears on the exhibit, is for an interaction with the Currumborough Middle Pub, and that is recorded as 7:23 and 38 seconds, both in the PM. He agreed people can have multiple URLs, the addresses on the web. They can have multiple URLs open at one time. He told you that if you interacted with one URL and do not close it and go to another URL, artifacts will not be generated for the first URL whilst you are interacting with the second. He told you about visit counts in relation to the records and exhibit. He says here records 3 and 4 record the visit counts as 2. He told you that is the number of visits to that specific URL, and he cannot say when the first visit was. He says here, but it is the second. Then he was asked these questions about the visit to the Currumborough Middle Pub site on the 28th of May. He says, anyone can use the stored data to purchase something unless there is some password required to get into the computer or the settings for Chrome autofill. Justice Beale continues and says he did not access the computer to see if such access was freely available. If he could interrogate and interpret the records prior to 7:20 p.m., he might be able to determine who was using the computer. Likewise, if he interrogated the records for after 7:23 or 7:24, He agreed that if he had been asked, he could have gone back into the computer and conducted a more refined search, and he would now have the qualifications to interpret that data, and he could have looked at the sequence of searches. So there you go. A little bit of the judge's closing the judge's charge to the jury, where he talks about Sharman Fox Henry and the evidence he gave and the questioning that he was given to the jury. Okay. Hey, Julie Miller, how are you? Julie Miller, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that question. Sorry, my friend. Good to see you though. All right. All right. So Justice Beale says, I'm going to take you now to the evidence given by Erin Patterson in relation to these records. And he says, so under cross examination, she, Erin Patterson, agreed that Sharman Fox Henry gave evidence that the Cooler Master accessed the iNaturalist map for the death cap mushrooms. She was taken to an exhibit. She agreed it looks like somebody looked up iNaturalist. She told you that she did not remember doing it. Possibly it was her. She said that what gave her pause is that she did not use Internet Explorer or Bing. She told you she does not remember it. She says, I don't remember this time. I don't remember this time, so I can't comment on whether I used it before this time, which was a reference to the visit count. Again, she said when taken to an exhibit, she said, I don't remember this internet search. It was possibly me. I remember wanting to find out at one point whether death cap mushrooms grew in South Gippsland and finding out they do not. She was taken to another exhibit, and that Justice Beale says that the jury will remember. And it is an exhibit that was tendered through Detective Eppingstall. And he says uh, it was in 2024 and it was keyed in URL addresses, and that apparently it popped up various pages on iNaturalist. She said she could not comment on whether the world map shown there looks similar to the world map in 2022. She did not remember navigating to iNaturalist on the occasion in question, did not remember ever seeing a page with observations of death cap mushrooms in Bricker Reserve, Moorabbin, but she told you she agreed it was possible that she had navigated there. She told you that she was not disagreeing with the cross-examiner. She could just not remember. She says, it's possible it was me, and said she didn't know if it was her son or daughter. And Justice Beale says a little later on, and still under cross-examination, she told you when she was taken to the exhibit, she says, I don't have a specific memory in this search or of this search. I wanted to know if death cap mushrooms grew in South Gippsland, and I found out they didn't. But she did not have a memory of what is shown in the records. She told you that she did not have an interest in death cap mushrooms generally. She said there's no memory of ever using or visiting iNaturalist, and that she had no idea if she had an interest in death cap mushrooms as of the 28th of May 2022. Her only interest in death cap mushrooms was to find out whether they grew in South Gippsland. She did not remember ever using the iNaturalist site. As per the visit count, she told you, it appears I had visited the site once before, and the next quote is, it was 2 seconds earlier. And they say here, she agreed that someone navigated to the Currumborough Middle Pub. She said she was not suggesting that her son or daughter did that, although she said that her son and daughter lived with her at the time. and did not remember whether it was her who navigated to that pub. Here. So Justice Beale moves to a slightly different area here. Justice Beale says he wants to talk about the Samsung tablet device, and this is part of Sharman Fox Henry's evidence. And he says another another digital forensic officer, and he says, I think it is Detective Sergeant Bailey, did the extraction on the Samsung tablet. It was a device that had been seized from the accused home on the 5th of August. A portable case was generated and thumbnails were generated in the investigator's report, and he was asked to put the thumbnails in a readable format. The relevant report is an exhibit in this case, which is a report of data and some images from the Samsung tablet. And he says here to the jury, you have got an image of the dehydrator, which was saved in the Google Photos application cache. He told you that the Google Photos application has taken thumbnails to allow for faster use of the application, and that the cache itself would not be accessible to a layperson. He told you that the modified date and time is given as the 30th of April 2023 at 3:29 and 49 seconds in the AM. But he says that is UTC time. And he says here, page 2 of the exhibit was an image of the dehydrator again. The modified time was the 30th of April 2023 at 3:29 and 48 seconds, again UTC time. He says on the third page, image of mushrooms on a plastic tray on digital scales, modified details is modified the 4th of May 2023 at 11:55 a.m. UTC. Page 4, and it's an image of information regarding ovarian cancer, modified the 10th of May 2023 at 5:09 p.m. UTC. And then on page 5, image of mushrooms on plastic tray of digital scales, modified the 4th of May 2023 at 11:56 a.m. Page 6 was image of mushrooms on trays in dehydrator, modified 30th of April 2023 at 3:29 a.m. UTC. Page 7 was image of information regarding ovarian cancer, modified on the 4th of May 2023 at 11:56 a.m. UTC. Page 8 was image of mushrooms on tray on electronic scales, modified the 4th of May 2023 at 11:56 a.m. UTC. And then page 9, image of mushrooms in a plastic bowl on electronic scales, modified the 4th of May 2023 at 11:55 a.m. UTC. And then this continues. Page 10 is image of info regarding ovarian cancer, modified the 4th of May 23 at 11:56 a.m. UTC. Page 11, information regarding brain lymphoma, modified 10th of May 2023 at 5:09 p.m. UTC. Page 12, images of some mushrooms on trays in the dehydrator, modified the 30th of April 2023 at 3:29 a.m. UTC. Page 13, images of tray on scale with pink object in the left bottom corner, modified the 4th of May 2023 at 11:56 a.m. UTC. Under cross-examination with regards to the exhibit, the report from the Samsung tablet of images, he agreed the portable case was generated by Sergeant Bailey. He is working off Bailey's notes, which indicate the extraction occurred on the 27th of November 2023, and that Bailey had used Celebrite. A portable case was saved to a job folder the following day. He agreed that Celebrite is a proprietary software sold to Victoria Police, updated occasionally in relation to bugs identified in the processing or or errors in the way the software is configured, and they might update it because Celebrite had not learned to identify some artifacts. He said these images with thumbnails in the cache drive, the images in the exhibit are JPEG files, which is not the original file. He told you the process had not altered the file. Told you that you could have images being taken on a phone and it being cached in two different devices at two different times. It is possible to have multiple thumbnails of thumbnails. When you take a photo, all sorts of metadata is generated. A photo is not assigned a hash value when it was taken. A file does not necessarily have to have a hash value until the algorithm is applied. If two photos have the same hash value, they are identical. He told you that these images do not have created or accessed dates. Told you the things uh, told you the things he cannot say regarding the exhibit is when the original image was taken and what device the photos were taken on. He does not know whether these images have been received by someone else, and he cannot say whether the user took the images or received them from someone else. No evidence as to what device the photos was taken, no evidence as to how long they were associated with this device. It could be weeks, months, or years. An image could have been sent by someone else and could end up in a Google Photos cache. The same can happen if someone texts you an image. Justice Beale says here, whatever you do on a particular device, there are multiple records or artifacts of the interaction. He has not been able to interrogate the records. Under re-examination, he told you that the original images were viewed and accessed via the Google Photos application. It is a gallery application which allows a user to review media saved in the device. If a photo is not taken on that device, the photo can be accessed by the Google account that is associated with the Google Photos application. And he says, so that is the Samsung tablet. There you go. Give me a sec. I need a drink after that. All right. How you guys going with that? You guys all keeping up, doing all right? Do you need like a massage? Do you need me to like get you a cup of tea? We're getting there. Hey, Four Sons Mom, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, you accidentally banned someone from the other chat. Oh no. It happens sometimes, people. Hey Kat, how are you? Good to see you. Let me have a break from reading for 2 seconds. Let me say hello to everyone. Hey Kat, how are you? Julie Miller, Sean's here. Who else is here? Robert's here. Good day, Robert. Francesca's here. Heather's here. BC made it. Good to have you. Who else? BC, yeah. Penguin made it. Hey Penguin. Just another human. Who else made it here? Jay's here. Good to see you. Justice Jane made it. Aaron's here tonight. Hello, Aaron. Uh, am I missing someone? I hope I'm not. Hey, Mike. Mike's here. Betty C's also here. All right. Okay. Shall we get into the next part? Shall we do that? All right. We can do that. He told you on the re-exam. Yes, we've done that bit. Let's see. Okay. All right. He says they're up to phone B and it's related to an exhibit. And he says here, now the Celebrite report in relation to phone B does not indicate whether the dates and times are given are UTC time, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, or Australian Eastern Standard Time. And Justice Beale says, I will just note the evidence of Dr. Sorrell that UTC or universal coordinated is equals the international time standard, which is the equivalent of Greenwich Mean Time. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time is 11 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time, and it is from the first Sunday in October to the first Sunday in April. And Australian Eastern Standard Time is 10 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time, and it's the first Sunday in April to the first Sunday in October. And he says here, now factory reset 1, that is the 12th of February. He says factory reset 1, you've got that set out in your report, but that is the 12th of February 23 at photo at 16:53 UTC. And he says now that would be February 12th, 23 at 3:53, which is 3:53 a.m. if it is in Australian Eastern Daylight Standard Time. Factory reset 2 is the 2nd of August 2023 at 11:09. He says now that would be Australian Eastern Standard Time. If you were adjusting it, it would be the 2nd of August 2023 at 21:09, and that is 9:09 p.m. Factory reset 3, it is UTC. It is the 5th of August 23 at 13:20, so that would be 1:20 in the afternoon. If it is Australian Eastern Standard Time, it is the 5th of August 2023 at 11:20 p.m. And Justice Beale says, which you will recall is when it was in the custody of police. And factory reset 4 is the 6th of August 2023 at 5:16. If it is UTC and if it is Australian Eastern Standard Time, that is the 6th of August 2023 at 15:16. And he says, so that is 3:16 in the afternoon, and it was also in custody of the police. He says, Sharman Fox Henry told you that the first 3 of those factory resets were done locally and not remotely. And he says, by that he meant the person doing the reset was physically in possession of the phone. Justice Beale says, he told you that the extraction on phone B, which occurred on the 7th of August 2023, was done by another officer. No user data was extracted from phone B because the device had been factory reset. A factory reset or hard reset means the phone has been returned or restored to its initial factory value. A factory reset destroys user data. It is irreversible. There are 3 ways to do factory resets. Factory resets could be done by a settings menu in most smartphones by 1. And he says by 2, by an external application, and by 3, using the booting component of the hardware. He says, in relation to a factory reset using the settings menu that is done locally, you have to physically have the phone, go to the settings, and then general management, and then reset it. If nothing else, he says, he says to the jury, if nothing else right now, you are learning useful information. Justice Beale continues and says, then you have got the factory reset using the buttons. And he says, again, this is local. It involves connecting the device to a computer via a USB cable. So you power off the device, connect the device to the computer via the USB cable, power the device into recovery mode using a specific button combination, select delete all users data or wipe data / factory reset. And then the other one, which he had given as number 2 by an external application, Justice Beale says he's making it number 3 to make it coherent here. But it is the remote one. It is the external application method. You do not need to have the device. You access a SmartThings app, also known as SmartThings Find. You log in, you select the device, and you use the erase data function. And SmartThings Find is an application used by Samsung, When somebody pinches your phone, you might think that is a handy application. He said the report refers to device events, which are the factory reset wipes. Now, device event 1, initially he told you that it was the 2nd of December 2023. He corrected that later on to the 12th of February 2023, and that was a factory reset wiped locally by the user. Event 2 was the 2nd of August 2023, again a factory reset wiped locally by the user. Event 3 on the 5th of August, factory reset wiped locally by the user. Event 4, 6th of August 2023, that is UTC time, wiped remotely by the user. Under cross-examination, he told you the date and time can be configured to automatically update via cellular or Wi-Fi networks, or the user can manually change the system date and time settings. The accuracy of the timestamp relies on the accuracy of the time and date settings on the mobile phone. No record of the time and date being examined by his colleague. He told you that if the phone has been factory reset, it would not provide information as to what the time and date as to what time and date as to what time the date and timestamps were previously. So what he's saying is, if you factory reset the phone, it won't provide the information as to what time the date and timestamp settings were previously. His evidence was that the factory reset of this device records the time and date that was within the device at the time it was reset. And he says, page 1 of the report, he says, indicates the time zone of the original UTC value. The person who conducted this extraction did not alter the time zone from UTC, meaning that the values that are identifiable with the UTC value of what they were at the time of either extraction or when the artifact was generated. And regarding event 2, that is the second factory wipe. It is not possible to say whether the UTC value had been applied or not been applied. Regarding event 4, the factory reset that occurred remotely and after the phone had been taken into police custody, investigators can and should isolate the device from the network, and you can do that by putting it into aeroplane mode or putting it into a Faraday bag, which isolates the phone from the network. Isolating the phone is critical to ensure data remains in its original state. He agreed that a factory reset only removes data since the previous reset, and he says, uh, and so all the user data between the 12th of February 2023, which is the first reset, and the 2nd of August 2023 disappears when the factory reset is done on the 2nd of August. But some data remains, which is why we have this log. Some security data that is remains, and it is the same. The factory reset on the 5th of August would only have the capacity to remove the data placed on the phone since the previous reset. The same for the factory reset on the 6th of August. It would only have the capacity to remove data placed on the phone since the 5th of August. So there we go. All right. How you guys going? You guys keeping up a bit? So it's a lot of dates and times tonight. A lot of dates and times. Even poor old Ping was getting uh messed up there. Even poor old Ping was getting messed up there. How you guys going out there in the world? You having a good night? Listening to long paragraphs of information from the Erin Patterson trial? I hope you are. Hope you're tuning into my channel Nights with Ping, catching up on the latest in this long-running court case, who's actually on day 38 now, not 37. Ping has been messed up on the days this week. All right, shall we continue? All right, here. All right, in relation to phone B, based on the Celebrite report, he opined that phone B had been factory reset 4 times. Each time the phone was factory reset, the data on the phone was, save for some security data, was irreversibly wiped. The first 3 factory resets were done locally and the 4th remotely. Justice Beale says, now when considering the issues that Fox Henry's evidence bears upon or relates to, you do not consider his evidence in isolation. You consider his evidence in the context of all the other evidence in this case. He says, having said that, the issues that his opinions bear upon include whether you can reasonably infer that on the 28th of May 2022, the accused sought out information on the iNaturalist website regarding locations of death cap mushrooms in Victoria for a second time, and whether the accused accessed Christine McKenzie's posting on iNaturalist of the observation of death cap mushrooms in the Loch Reserve on the 18th of April 2023, and whether she sourced death cap mushrooms in Loch on the 28th of April 2023, whether she accessed Dr. May's posting on iNaturalist of observations of death cap mushrooms in Nielsen Street, Outram, on the 21st of May, and whether she sourced or attempted to source death cap mushrooms in Loch on the 22nd of May 2023, and whether she sourced or attempted to source death cap mushrooms in Outram on the 22nd of May, whether she deliberately and knowingly put death cap mushrooms into the beef Wellington served to her lunch guests on the 29th of July. Justice Beale says, but I emphasize there is no evidence of her, no computer evidence of her, accessing those posts by Mackenzie and May, as you are well aware. Justice Beale says, now the arguments made about Fox Henry's evidence, the prosecution argue that she was aware of the iNaturalist site and its map features. The prosecution argue you can reasonably infer that was her, particularly because of the order for a family pack meal placed uh, contemporaneously. It indicates that she was aware of iNaturalist and its map feature regarding death cap mushrooms, and in the course of making arguments about Fox Henry's evidence, the prosecutor argued that Dr. May had told you that there are only 3 entries regarding death cap mushrooms in the region. The first, a historical observation near Morwell, which was not confirmed as death cap mushroom sighting. Second, an observation by Mackenzie of death cap mushrooms at Loch on the 28th of April that he confirmed was death cap mushrooms. And third, his observation on the 21st of May 2023 in Nielsen Street, Outram. Justice Beale says, and when I say only 3 entries, you understand what I mean by that. Only 3 postings of observations, which does not mean there were not observations without postings, and the prosecution agree it is likely drawing on Fox Henry's evidence and other evidence that you can reasonably infer that she accessed the post by Mackenzie and Dr. May. There you go. All right, hold on, guys. It's been a lot of reading tonight. It's been it's been a lot of reading tonight, right? A lot of a lot of reading tonight. Justice Beale says, in relation to the Samsung tablet images, the prosecutor argued that the data does not tell us when they were taken, but there is evidence which narrows the window of opportunity to take the photos because of image 1 in the exhibit shows the dehydrator which she had acquired on the 28th of April 2023. The photo must have been taken between April 28th, the 28th of April and the 30th of April when it was modified. Image 9, that just shows the regular field mushrooms. Image 13, a photo of the dehydrator tray and scales. And they said, this is the one with the flap of the pink phone case, it is alleged. And they say it was last modified on the 4th of May at 9:56 p.m., so taken between the 28th of April and the 4th of May. Images 3 and 5, photos of the trays on the scales with what appears to be wild mushrooms, and the prosecutor argue these are clearly forage mushrooms, and that even the accused in her evidence acknowledged that they weren't looking good. Last modified on the 4th of May at 9:55 p.m. and 9:56 p.m. So further photos were further photos were taken between the 28th of April and the modification date, and you can infer that she took those photos with her pink phone, phone A, which has never been recovered. It is argued that the button mushrooms shown in one of the photographs was a test, and it was argued that Dr. May said the mushrooms in images 3 and 5 are consistent with Amanita phalloides with a high degree of confidence. From all this evidence, you can infer it was argued that she was at the Lock Reserve on the 28th of April 2023, found death cap mushrooms, then bought the dehydrator, and the images 3 and 5 show the mushrooms she collected on the 28th of April. Also, that she was at the Lock Reserve and Nielsen Street in Outram on the 22nd of May, and that she blitzed death cap mushrooms for the beef Wellingtons, which explains why Dr. Gerastamalos, the forensic toxicologist, could still detect the toxins in the leftovers even though Dr. Truong was physically looking for death cap mushrooms with a microscope and could not see them. In relation to phone B, the prosecution argued that that was a dummy phone and they took you to an exhibit, which is a still from a CCTV of the search on the 5th of August 2023 and pointed to you that she was not handing over the pink phone, argued she wanted to conceal the contents of the usual phone and that there was a factory reset of phone B during the search. Nothing was found on phone B because of the factory resets. It had been wiped locally on the 2nd of August, the day after she left hospital, the 3rd of August at about 6 p.m. And the SIM for a number ending in 8 redacted is connected to phone B, and the 5th of August, according to Fox Henry's report, the 5th of August at 13:20 when phone B was wiped locally, and then the prosecution argued that this was during the search by police of the premises. And the prosecutor argued by the way of anticipatory rebuttal that the defense might argue that the time is uncertain, but if it was UTC time, it would be 11:20 p.m. when the phone was in Mr. Eppingstall's locker in the city. Fox Henry had told you that the factory reset was done by the user holding the phone, and then you have got the 6th of August at 5:16 in the morning wiped remotely when the device was in police custody. The SIM for the number ending in 8 redacted was connected on the 11th of July 2023. Other than three calls, was just used for data. So there you go. That sums up, at least the last bit there, sums up what Justice Beale has to say about the prosecution's arguments in relation to this. In a second, I'll read you the defense's one. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Hey, Jay, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you for the giving away some memberships. It's very, very kind of you. Very kind. Hold on. Hey Share Bear, how are you? Share Bear from the other week who gifted 20 memberships to people in the chat. How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for all the support the other week. I appreciate it. It's people like Share Bear that allow me to go to these trials for now. We're going to be into week 10 next week. And it's people like Share Bear who are able to help support those efforts. All right. Justice Beale says, I went through a summary of the accused evidence under cross examination in relation to the iNaturalist search earlier, but Mr. Mandy said this to the jury in his closing. So on the 28th of May 2022, there is little doubt that it was Erin Patterson looking up that very question on the Cooler Master computer. We'll come to the way that she was answering those questions in cross examination a bit later, but there is no argument from us that you should find it was someone else, son or daughter or anyone else. Erin was answering the way she did because she didn't remember it, but you shouldn't have any reservation in thinking that it must have been her who was engaging in that activity on the 28th of May 2022. Justice Beale said, now he went on to argue in relation to that visit, which he considered was by his client on the 28th of May, that it was a brief interaction with iNaturalist. Possibly she was not previously familiar with iNaturalist. She visited iNaturalist to find out whether death cap mushrooms grew in South Gippsland. Dr. May confirmed there was no death cap mushroom postings in South Gippsland in May of 2022. What would have strayed her from her visit was that there were no death cap mushrooms in South Gippsland. When the world map comes up on the screen, it does not necessarily look like what it is on the computer. That is a reference to the exhibit tendered through Detective Eppingstall when he went to those URL addresses. But he continues and says, but there are no red dots on the map in South Gippsland. And he says here, an occasional forager such as Miss Patterson, you might think that is comforting information. It is not clear how long she spent on the site, maybe a minute approximately, navigating to the Bricker Reserve observation, possibly out of curiosity as to what death cap mushrooms look like. This interaction was idle curiosity just before ordering dinner. Time on the Bricker Reserve page was 21 to 28 seconds, not evidence of a deep and abiding interest in death cap mushrooms. Was iNaturalist right in May of 2022 that no death cap mushrooms were in South Gippsland? Justice Beale continues and says, not all sightings are subject to posts on sites, such as iNaturalist. Only observed and they only observed and posted twice in South Gippsland, as far as Dr. May confirmed. There is an alleged observation 20 years ago in South Gippsland, but according to Dr. May, it was not confirmed. The only two confirmed sightings of death cap mushrooms in South Gippsland are Miss Mackenzie and Dr. May's. On the prosecution's case, she is acting on the sightings of Miss Mackenzie and Dr. May. Hey, Rory. And as if she was waiting for them, how likely is that? There is no evidence from Mr. Fox Henry of her accessing these posts by May and Mackenzie. No evidence she ever returned to the iNaturalist website since the 28th of May, 2022. Isn't it likely there were more death cap mushrooms growing elsewhere? And he's saying spores got to Outram and Lock blowing on the wind. That is the evidence to how death cap mushrooms spread. So those were the arguments he made in connection to Fox Henry's evidence. In relation to the thumbnails on the Samsung tablet, you cannot determine exactly when the photos were taken. The dates of the ones that have the dehydrator or the trays of the dehydrator were taken after the purchase of the dehydrator, but you do not know about the other ones, the cancer ones. And he says to the jury, if you scroll through the photos, No, yeah, if he says to the jury, and if you scroll through photos, that would be creating caches of those photos. As regards to the ovarian cancer images, it is a selection of photos by investigators, not the whole context. Do not reason that they are the only images in a cache. So there you go. And he says, now in relation to the argument he made about the factory resets of phone B, we'll discuss that in another section. And he says here to the jury, so ladies and gentlemen, you are not required to accept the opinions of Dr. Sorrell or Mr. Fox Henry, or indeed the expert opinions of the other experts who gave evidence in this case. You are the judges of the facts in this case, and even though a witness may be an expert in their field, an expert witness's opinion are merely pieces of evidence, like any other, which you may accept or reject. When assessing an expert's opinion, you should consider their qualifications and experience, their objectivity, and whether their evidence is disputed, as opposed to whether there is a dispute as to what interpretations or inferences can be drawn from their evidence. And he says, you'll appreciate the defense did not challenge the evidence of Sorrell and Fox Henry. Um, Rather, the defense challenged the inferences you could draw from their evidence. So there you go. There you go. Good evening, Zen. How are you, my friend? Good to have you. Good to have you. Hold on, guys. I'm just checking something. Okay. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes. So that is my little catch up from yesterday's. Now I'm losing words. From yesterday's charge to the jury, and we will have another one tomorrow for you. So tomorrow will be today's one, possibly tomorrow's one as well, and we'll combine them into one show. I'm just not sure how that's going to work, but tomorrow is a half day, so it's only a few hours. So it's possible we can just put them together into the one show and catch up for the week. By the way, sorry about that before. My cat walked up and stuck her claws into my knee. She tried to jump up at my lap here, and she just stuck her claws in. Where is she? Hey, she was here before. Rory, I know she disappeared. She was here a second ago. Hey, don't know. She was here on my lap like 2 minutes ago, and now she's run away. For people that wanted a Mrs. Ping update, I have some good news. She is apparently heading home next week. So finally, after tomorrow will be a month in hospital, she will be heading home next week some point. Don't know when exactly, but we're being told that they are preparing her to leave hospital finally after 4 weeks. So I am very, very happy about that to finally have her getting home. But that doesn't mean she's better. It just means that she doesn't have to be in a hospital anymore. So it's good news. Thanks, Mace Windu. I appreciate all of your love and support from everyone in the chat. It's been a very tough month to have to try and cover the trial and have a sick partner in hospital and try and juggle the both at the same time. It's been it's been trying. It's been very, very trying to try and do both. So the understanding from everyone and well wishes and all sorts of things have been very helpful. I appreciate it. I just wanted to check if we had any links come through. I didn't hear the phone go off, but Jay, I appreciate it. Yeah, good. Yeah, it is good news. So we really are getting down to the skinny part of the trial now. Like I said last night, you're not seeing that like huge flow of brand new evidence every day that we were getting a few weeks ago, where every night was like just mountains and mountains of new information that we had to like pass through every night. Now we're sort of right at that end point, and what the judge had to say today, Justice Beale, that it's just tomorrow for a few hours and then a few hours on Monday morning, and we are into deliberations, and it's up to the jury. It's up to them. It's all in their hands. It's up to them, and you can see he is preparing them for that through his charge to the jury. So Zen said, yes, so she'll have to have a nurse come every day. So the way they explained it to us is she may be coming home, but it's almost like she's still considered a hospital patient. So she's still considered inpatient, even though she's not in the hospital. So she will have a nurse coming every day to check on her and uh, change her bandages and things like that. So still a lot of recovery to go, but she doesn't have to lie in a hospital bed, which I think she will appreciate after being in the same hospital for a month. So tomorrow will be 4 weeks since she's been in there. So she'll be very happy to get home next week. Hey, I deliberately. That's right, Jay. That's right. Deliberately. Yes. Um, I will be back tomorrow. Back tomorrow. I don't know what time tomorrow because we're going to end early. So you guys may get a much earlier show tomorrow than this one. Oh, okay. It's probably called Hospital at Home. Could be. I haven't been told. Sean says it was poor timing. It really was. Uh, I'm just thankful that we didn't go into deliberations when she was in surgery. If we had gone into deliberations when she was in surgery, that would have been like the worst case scenario, I think. To have them happen at the same day at the same time would have been awful. Hey, Francesca, good to see you. Yeah, so also with this, you'll see this in our podcast that's after the trial comes to a conclusion. This will be in our podcast artwork. So we're going to be using this to separate this one from the after trial podcast. So these will be the two different, but we'll modify it, make it look really awesome. So Dragon says being at home is so much nicer. Avoid hospital-borne infections. That's right. Zen said, "What time tomorrow?" I don't know. It could be a lot earlier, or we could just keep it at 8:30 if you want. If you want me to keep it at this time tomorrow, we can do that, and that way everyone can just remember because we've been doing it every day. All right. Gayla said, "I'm glad I caught the last few minutes." It's all right. There's a lot of information there that I gave to you. So there you go. Let me get out of this. Yeah, so they'll be the two different like podcast covers. So this one will end when we finish this trial and we get a conclusion. And then for the 10 part one, there'll be a different podcast artwork. You can rewatch it. Okay. I hope you're feeling better, Four Sons mum. I hope you're feeling better, my friend. You were not well for a while. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Hey, Lionheart, how are you? Good to see you. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Um, yeah. I can't believe we only have a couple of days left of this. What are we going to do after? I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do the 10-part podcast afterwards. That's what we're going to do. where you guys and girls and people will get a very different look at this trial, a very different look. So that should be interesting for all of you. Julie said, thanks again. Can't wait to chat about the case. Yeah, not too far away now. Could be this time next week. Could be. I'm not saying that's a certainty or anything, but this time next week we could start the second half of all this that we've been talking about throughout the trial. The second bit that everyone's looking forward to. So very possibly. All right. I love you all. Have a good night out there, and I'll see you tomorrow evening to finish off the week and hopefully catch up on today and the 3 hours from tomorrow. Okay. Good night, everyone. Bye. Bye. Bye.